Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Monday the 14th of August 2023. In today's Millwall news, it was announced that Brian Snowdon of major team in the 1960s for Millwall, before my time, but very good team that kick-started Millwall's revival in the 60s, had that amazing unbeaten run. He passed away recently. So this is from millfc.co.uk. So Millwall Football Club is saddened to hear of the passing of Brian Snowdon. The centre-half who signed from Portsmouth in 1963 went on to make 143 appearances for the Lions across 4 seasons, captaining 2 successive promotion-winning sides as Millwall launched themselves from Division 4 to Division 2. During that period, Snowdon and his teammates went on a remarkable run of 59 home matches unbeaten. After leaving the Den, Brian went on to play for the likes of Margate, as well as Detroit Cougars in the United States of America. The thoughts of everyone at Millwall Football Club are with the family and friends of Brian at this sad time. There you can see the photo there. Like I said, before my time, but if you are a Millwall fan, you obviously, most Millwall fans will know about that 59 game unbeaten at home, and that is, we're talking about 30 years at the Den. That kind of thing that made the old Den memorable in a lot of people's minds. It kind of built up the reputation of the Den, having this team that was captained by Brian Snowdon go on a 59 game unbeaten run at the Den. So yeah, there you go. Passed away recently, Brian Snowdon. Moving on to tomorrow, there will be an open training session. So if you're wondering what the hell are the players doing in training, I doubt it's probably not shooting practice. I think we're probably assured of that. Probably not working on corners either. So probably just defensive stuff, I would imagine. Judging by how they're playing. You can go down and watch them train, get some things signed and pictures and stuff. They call it an open training session. It's kind of like a fans thing or whatever. They did this at the start of the season, last season, maybe the season before that. I'm not too sure. It might have been COVID interfering with that. So they're doing things like this now. And part of why they're doing it is to sell season tickets and memberships, because you need one to get in. So let's have a read. So Millwall Football Club will host an open training session at the Den on Tuesday the 15th of August. That's tomorrow. Just 3 days after the Lions play their second Sky Bet Championship match of the season against Bristol City. This was written on the 7th of August, so obviously I told you about it at the time. I'm just reminding you now. The doors will open at 10 AM, with the training session to commence 30 minutes later. Millwall season ticket holders and members can watch all the action unfold for free in SE16 on production of a valid 23-24 season ticket or membership. Entry will be at gate W1, with the ticket office also open to anyone wishing to sign up and gain access. So here you go. So if you wanted to go there, you have to sign up. The cheapest way would be to get a membership, kids membership, whatever, and they'll let you in on the day. So there will be arts and crafts available inside the concourse, whilst the kiosk will be open for anyone wishing to purchase refreshments. Zampa and Bolina will also be in attendance. After the session is finished, the players and management will be on hand to sign any merchandise and post photos. And if you come empty-handed, do not fear. The Lions store will be open to grab any last-minute purchases. We look forward to seeing you there. So there you go. Obviously, you won't be able to buy a shirt in the Lions store yet. I'm not sure. I don't think they're in there yet. Obviously, if you haven't heard, you can buy the shirts online, but not in the Lions store. But you can buy the training wear in the store, but you can't buy the training wear online. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Moving on to this, the Loanwatch for this week. Defeats for Millwall loan duo. Here we go. Chin Ockley and Nana Boateng both suffered home defeats at their loan clubs this past weekend. Defender Ockley played the full 90 minutes as Bromley slipped to a 2-0 televised loss to Barnet, live on TNT Sports, which is the BT Sport, been renamed because they sold themselves. whilst Woking's first home game of the campaign, ending with Altrincham winning 3-2 at the Laithwaite Stadium. Boateng also featured for the whole game at the Laithwaite Stadium. I think they were 2-0 up as well. I'm not sure if they were 2-1 up Woking and then 3-2. The Ravens are yet to pick up a point from their first two fixtures, whilst Woking have 1 point from their duo of games. Joe Wright, meanwhile, was an unused substitute at Salford City, drew 1-1 Crawley Town in Sky Bet League 2. And obviously, their teams have all got games tomorrow, but it's unlikely they'll be playing. Joe Wright, I've said Joe before. The Joe Wright's on loan there, but the goalkeeper that's the number one is the captain. They've made him the captain, so I doubt that Joe Wright will be playing. He might get the 3 or so Johnson Pate Trophy games. You would imagine to do that, but it's unlikely to be playing anytime soon. So there are games there if you wanted to go to a game tomorrow night. Bromley Wildston, 7:45 PM kickoff. Woking Rochdale. Not only that, but even if you didn't want to go but you wanted to watch, you can. They broadcast their games live on this new National League TV. You can pay whatever it is, I think it's 5 or 10 and watch the games. So there you go. Yes. So that's the Loanwatch for this week. 2 defeats. Now, moving on to talking of young players. The under-21 season starts tomorrow as well, but you will not be able to watch that game. It's at training ground. It's at Sheffield Wednesday's training ground. So, Sheffield Wednesday versus Millwall under-21s. Millwall under-21s, 23-24 Professional Development League season begins on Tuesday afternoon as they take on Sheffield Wednesday. Kick-off 2 PM. Kevin Nugent's side begin the defence of their South Division and National Final crowns against the Owls, who they defeated at Calmont Road to win the format at the end of the last campaign. Well, they defeated them at the Den, didn't they? It was at the Den. Both of the games were at the Den. Yeah, to win at the end of the last campaign. So, updates from Wednesday's Middlewood Training Ground complex will be available at Mill Academy's Twitter, not the official Twitter, whilst a report from Yorkshire will be published after the final whistle. The Lion squad for this fixture is yet confirmed. So there you go. So you've not had the best of starts, the under-21s in pre-season, but they came up against a tough Hornchurch side and a tough Valley Hamlet side. So we'll see how they get on tomorrow against a team at their own level. But we will see. Obviously, this is a tough Northern away game. Not the easiest sort of start, so hopefully they've had 3 of their best players are out on loan, and 2 of the better players are in the first team, sitting on the bench trying to save Garrett's ass game after that. So there you go. Moving on to, if you were hoping to purchase an executive box some point in the season for some kind of function, celebration whatsoever, you are too late because they've all sold out. So the Den's executive boxes are sold out for 23-24. Your only option, I think, is if we get a cup game at home, but then why would you want to go to that? Because unless it's against the top Premiership team and the players and the managers will actually try and give a shit because it'll make them look good to win that game, then why would you bother? Exactly. But here we go. Executive boxes at the Den. The 23-24 season have now sold out! Exclamation mark. With the last remaining package secured, you can now join the waiting list. If maybe you want to get down on a waiting list for a specific game during a specific date. Or maybe, as well as, don't forget, obviously this season, games get moved around. Maybe it's the people who've booked a box, if the game gets moved, they're not going to be happy with that. I would assume that Mill will give them the option to back out of the deal and not take their money, but you never know. And they would give them the option to cancel, which would then give the opportunity to resell the box, but you never know. So maybe might be a point to join the waiting list if you wanted to for that. If you're still seeking matchday hospitality in SC16, then why not sample the 1885 Club? With platinum and gold bundles on offer, take a look at Millwall Football Club's commercial opportunities here. So there you go. Executive boxes sold out. A lot of people are very hamped up for this season, and so far we had a good start, and the last week has been pretty horrible. And I don't think it's going to get any better at Norwich away, because our record there is absolutely dog shit. Moving on to this, we're going to finish the video with this. I was going to bring you this the other day, I forgot. I don't know if you remember. During the cup final, I think it was a cup final between Man City and Man United. There was a fan there with a shirt, and it said like 97, Hillsborough 97, best something, like celebrating it. I don't know what the actual shirt said. He had it printed on his shirt. And he got arrested for that. And he got a public order offence. I think he went to court and he pled guilty, and he got a fine, I believe. And a football banning order, I think, as well. I probably could have looked it up, but I'm just bringing that up because I want to tell you. After that happened, so obviously that made it into the public zeitgeist, and the terms of the public seem to be very favourable into treating someone who's obnoxious and rude and annoying as a criminal. They've criminalised being a nasty bastard. And here we go. They've decided to take that on and go even further now, because no one stood up for this wanker with this shit shirt that was annoying and rude and highly offensive. But should it be illegal? Here's my point of view. If you've got a problem with shirts that someone's wearing, go up and tell them and get in their face. And if they get in your face, then you have mutual combat, and here you go. You sort it out. And then if you beat him up, you take the shirt off him and you carry on with your day. There you go. Burn the shirt or whatever. But obviously, we live in a feminized world now, and they appeal to authority of the collective masses and the managerial classes. So here we go. English football's new blasphemy laws. Tragedy chanting is offensive, but that should not make it a criminal offence. This is from spikedonline.com, written by Mike Hume, a columnist. Is it offensive for English football fans to taunt rival supporters with chants relating to tragedies such as the 1989 Hillsborough disaster, which left 97 Liverpool fans dead, or the 1958 Munich air disaster, which killed 23 people, including 8 Manchester United players? Of course it is, and intentionally so. Why else would anyone do it? But should such wind-up tragedy chanting, in quotes, be a criminal offence, punishable by being banned from football matches, pubs, and domestic or foreign travel? Of course not. That's an over-the-top tackle against free speech at football. On the eve of the new English Premier League season this week, the Crown Prosecution Service got its retaliation in first. With the full support of the Premier League and the Football Association, CPS issued new guidance, making clear that tragedy chanting is now officially a crime, which can be prosecuted as a public order offence. And whatever you do, if you see a female police officer with a bouffant haircut, please do not call them a lesbian, because you will have a SWAT team jumping on you, knocking you to the ground, and taking you in handcuffs to the nearest station, where they will lock you in a cell. You won't see the light of day. How dare you? How dare you? Fans found guilty will be hit with football banning orders. These would not only stop them from attending football matches, including next year's European Championship, but potentially also ban them from travelling to certain areas or travelling abroad during tournaments. They may be barred from pubs during matches. This would also, of course, leave them with lifelong stud marks of a criminal record. This legal guidance effectively extends the new blasphemy laws covering English football, laying down strict rules on words that cannot be used and subjects that cannot be mentioned in matches. Tragedy chanting now joins the prescribed list of football's blasphemies, alongside any chants the authorities might brand as racist or homophobic, which is calling an opposition player a rent boy, doing wolf whistling, saying DVD. So all of them, hey, watch your back. Watch your back, old man. You're living in a new world now. British football used to be seen as a haven from everyday life, where the mass of fans, overwhelmingly working class men, could sing, shout, and genuinely let rip in ways most would never dream of trying away from the match. That situation has been turned on its head. The authorities now demand that football act as a role model for society, setting sanitised standards of behaviour. Thus, things that are legal elsewhere, such as mentioning Hillsborough in anything other than a reverent tone, must be criminalised at football matches. Prosecutors claim that tragedy chanting is a growing problem in English football and that a new crackdown is urgently needed to stamp it out. The CPS's lead prosecutor for sport, Douglas Mackay, was adamant this week that a small minority of so-called fans are both damaging the reputation of the sport and, more importantly, this offending has a devastating impact on the families of victims of tragedies and the communities connected closely to those events. The new legal guidance declared football's offence fine the general sends a clear message that this vile behaviour will not be tolerated. We want supporters to passionately enjoy our national sport without crossing the line into criminality, which sounds like the sort of exercise in self-justification that would shame the most arrogant footballers. The truth being, of course, that those passionate supporters will only be crossing the line into criminality because the CPS has just made their impassioned chanting a crime. Exactly. The prosecutor's sneering expression of contempt for vile so-called fans gives their game away. They want to target and punish the wrong kind of supporters, the traditional fans who are the heart and soul of football. Instead, our national sport must be made a safe space for the new premier breed of more sensitive, middle-class supporters who claim to love the beautiful game but fear and loathe the ugly proles who have always watched and played it. The long-running crusade to sanitise Premier League football scored some significant victories. Contrary to what is now being claimed, there is not more offensive chanting these days. Football crowds and their songs are pretty tame compared to the riotous assemblies of the past. What has increased, however, is official intolerance of offensive chants. The authorities want to impose new speak-style constraints on which words can be used and which thoughts expressed at football. Nobody should take seriously the stuff about the law wanting to protect the victims of tragedies and their communities. The football and legal authorities cynically aim to use the victims as human shields behind which they can advance their crusade to clean up the game by cleansing it of trashy fans. Naughty songs about other teams have long been part of what used to be called terrace culture before they bulldozed the terraces in favour of all-seater stadiums. Liverpool supporters were pioneers of tragedy chanting, with their famous song about the Munich air disaster, which devastated United's teams of Busby Babes. Though I was born a year after Munich, not me, the person writing this. As a lifelong United fan, I have often been entertained by that offensive Scouse serenade. More recently, Liverpool fans have found themselves on the receiving end of tragedy chanting around the Hillsborough disaster, where their supporters were crushed to death in overcrowded terrace cages. A much highlighted incident occurred last season at Chelsea when some supporters of the London club taunted visitors and Liverpool fans with chants of murderers, and always the victims, it's never your fault. These chants sought to connect Hillsborough with another disaster at the Heysel Stadium in Brussels in 1985 when 39 fans of Italian club Juventus were crushed to death by a collapsing wall after Liverpool supporters charged them. Bizarrely, Liverpool's then chairman John Smith sought to blame Chelsea fans for Heysel. Winding up opposition fans and players has always been a central part of the football experience, but unlike the tragedies themselves, it is not a real matter of life and death. Those Chelsea fans did not seriously consider the Liverpool supporters to be murderers any more than the Liverpool fans chanting back Chelsea rent boys truly believe their opponents ought to be male prostitutes down the King's Road. The CPS and the football authorities are the ones who are really exploiting football-related tragedies and playing on the feelings of those involved. They are trying to use the disasters that befall football as a weapon to force fans to conform to their rules. So-called tragedy chanting is certainly offensive and nobody has to like it. That doesn't mean such chants should be criminal offences, punishable in the courts. We should tell the CBS, paraphrase another popular whole terror standard, you can stick your football banning orders up your arse. So there you go. Obviously, this is going to be used selectively to take certain people out, certain people that they don't want at the clubs, at the grounds. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to see this. This is going to be happening. I can see it. You say, well, what? It's in terms of Millwall. Obviously, got the Leeds game coming up. They've got the thing about Turkish flags and stuff, which I'm not a fan of that. I don't support that, but it's not a criminal offence. You shouldn't be arrested by the state monopoly on force, taken to a cell, and then either punished by a criminal fine, criminal record, and time in jail for being rude, annoying, and offensive. Like, yeah, it's bizarre. And you see they're doing this, but if your house gets burgled, fuck that. Why would they want to investigate that? Why would they want to prosecute that? Why would they want to do anything about that? Your car gets broken into. Oh, here's a crime number. Send that to your insurance. Get some money. I've got CCTV. Oh no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the CCTV. You can't see anything anyways. They're wearing masks. Don't worry about it. This is the new crime. They make up crimes so that they can solve them. Easy peasy. They make up new crimes and they make you the criminals. Yeah. We'll see how this turns out. Obviously, the Met Police are going to be using this against Millwall fans, almost certainly. And it's not a matter if they have the powers, like you say, we're passing laws. Well, why are you passing laws? Oh, we're not going to use it. Well, then why pass the law? Why are you saying this? Obviously they are, and obviously they're going to use it, like you said, to sanitize the annoying people out of football. And on that note, thank you for watching and goodbye.